All right, so I got some exciting news. I have mold toxicity, and I went to this naturopathic doctor at the Osteo Center here in Miami. I've been before for like PRP and IV therapy with like glutathione and B vitamins, but I was just feeling like really unmotivated, really depressed. And you've had mold toxicity yourself a number of years ago, and it was just like at the gym. I'm like, we were going together. I'm like, dude, maybe I should get myself tested for mold. And it turns out that I had chronic exposure to mold toxicity, and these should not be in this range. It should basically be in this range to be a normal mold toxicity. So this is my long-term exposure, which I've had so much long-term exposure, as you can see right here. And then this is my acute exposure right here. I didn't really feel it until we started getting massive amounts of mold out of the air ducts. And I think that released spores, which I breathed in. But in Miami, it's like the moisture in the air and the humidity. It's probably impossible not to have some type of mold exposure, you know?
Yeah.
So what was your experience? And how did you even know you had mold exposure?
Okay. Well, my experience was since I had a very healthy lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
being connected with my body, being active, weightlifting, eating healthy, doing yoga. I was a little bit more connected with my body. Also helping clients understand their bodies and their hormones,
Mm-hmm.
circadian rhythm. So I had awareness and knowledge of what I should feel like.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, I was getting brain fog, inflammation. It felt even at times where my body was like fire was coming down my
Oh
arms,
man,
like from my
really?
neck down my arms.
That bad?
Really bad. Yeah, like I couldn't even do a pull up.
Dang.
Like it became where my body became very stiff
Uh-huh.
and painful to even work out.
Whoa.
I went to get blood work. Doctor said, "Oh, you're fine. I think it's just like it's just it was during COVID as well.
Like a
So
regular
it
doctor.
was a like a
Yeah.
regular medical doctor. He did blood work. And at the time, again, trusting what they're telling me, and
Mm-hmm.
this is also in the transition of how when COVID was happening, so it was at home more,
Hmm.
right? Working more from home, being at home more,
Yeah.
leaving sometimes to ride my bicycle, go to the beach, or be
Mm.
outside in the backyard, do a little yoga meditation, but then most of the time was being indoor. I
Oh.
wasn't going anywhere, so I was probably sitting there for hours longer than I typically would if on a regular, schedule.
Yeah.
So as I'm feeling the changes happening. I am not giving up, obviously, seeing that, okay, the doctor's telling me maybe it's in my head, maybe it's this, maybe it's that,
Yeah,
right?
maybe
Because they're not really
depressed. Yeah,
detecting it,
something.
and
Yeah.
because they're not aware that what I'm describing is mold toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
So I intuitively started figuring that out as I also meditated, the yoga, and I took psychedelics, which
Okay.
is I've been practicing plant medicine for about 15 years now.
Psilocybin. All right.
Psilocybin, magic mushrooms, beautiful magic mushrooms.
And so do you think that gave you the insight?
That gave me the insight and
Whoa.
awareness to say, you know what, I think there's mold in the house.
Whoa.
So I tested it out, and in fact, there was behind the kitchen wall black mold,
Whoa.
which is behind, all the appliances,
Mm-hmm.
the cabinets. It's hard to see it,
Yeah.
and sometimes it can get masked because of the humidity and allergies.
But it was inside the wall?
Yeah, once you remove like
The
the
the drywall?
kitchen and no, you can see it in the drywall behind. Yeah, and
Whoa.
then if you remove the cabinets, it was all behind there because it was from old water intrusion that I guess
Oh,
at some point they had
snap.
water come in,
Mm-hmm.
they fixed the roof, but they didn't really realize that there was water behind the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
right? So after finding that out, moved from the property, but it did take some time to still recover. I could still feel the
Like
effects for months.
how many months?
Months, yeah.
Oh, dang.
Like it slowly, but I cleansed my system out.
Mm-hmm.
Things that I did were going to the sauna
Mm-hmm.
regularly, exercise, yoga, breath work, clean diet, removing alcohol and anything that's like toxic,
Yeah.
as well as juicing was
Mm-hmm.
really powerful. And within a couple months, I really was feeling a lot better. But as you can see, it's a challenging process. You
Yeah.
really have to stay consistent, resting properly, right? Like so, there's a whole protocol. I started treating myself like a client,
Mm.
and that's when I actually started seeing a huge change, right?
Yeah, it's so true. And it's funny because like it happens so subtly.
It does.
So you may have mold exposure just like me. If you guys experience, for brief exposure, it says runny nose, watery eyes, sneezing, normal allergy stuff, headaches, fatigue. But repeated exposure can be increased sensitivities, whatever does that mean, brain fog, memory loss, even slurred speech. I had chronic fatigue. Sounds like you had neurological issues.
Yeah.
It can even lead to organ failure. And here's a big one: chronic sinusitis, basically inflammation in your sinuses.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I didn't know I had all these chronic exposures. And they were saying that this could be a year to 5 or even 10 years long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? So that's why I always tell anyone to, like, if you feel tired for no reason at all, or if you feel chronically like maybe even depressed or have so many allergies that you really can't really pinpoint, or foggy brain, get yourself tested for mold. But I think the big three are mold and heavy metals, because heavy metals hang out with mold. And they checked my heavy metals. I had 9 times the amount of mercury in my body.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
So for the
And
treatment,
where did that come from? The 9 times? Is it from food you're eating? Is it from like did they pinpoint maybe where it's coming from?
yeah, so I got dental work and I had these mercury fillings.
Oh.
And I think it's probably from there, because after that, after the dental work, I started feeling really bad.
Mm.
And
Makes
so
sense.
it was probably double whammy
Yeah.
between the mold that was removed at the same time that my teeth were being worked on. And I was like, ah.
And you've gotten that removed now.
And so that it makes sense, because mold and heavy metals, they hang out together, is what the naturopathic was saying. And so now we have to get them out together by doing chelation therapy, as well as something called ozone therapy, or even EBU therapy.
Okay. Well, can you tell us a little bit about the ozone therapy?
Yes, it's funny you ask. Yeah, so chelation therapy helps to just take all of the heavy metals out of your body. So it basically chelates, or binds to that heavy metal, and then you flush it out, either urine or stool. But you have to drink a lot of water. So sometimes you have too much. Like Tony Robbins had 70 times the mercury.
Whoa.
And the reason was because he was eating a lot of sushi and a lot of swordfish. And apparently, like, everything in our entire ecosystem is polluted now.
At this point, unfortunately, it is.
Dude, I know we have microplastics in the water, we have fluoride in the water,
Mm-hmm.
making the frogs get. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
No, but it's Alex Jones. But no, but everything's toxic. So we have heavy metals in the water, we have microplastics, we have pollution. But it's so sad that we can't even eat fish from the ocean without having heavy metal
Not
toxicity now.
anymore. Yeah, we have to be aware of it.
And so that's what the doctor was saying. So he's like, honestly, every single person, they should include this in like a regular doctor's checkup.
Mm.
It's mold, heavy metals, and then even parasites, the top three.
Parasites, yeah.
Dude, yeah. But parasites are pretty simple to get rid of, because all you're supposed to do is do like sunflower seeds, and also I think papaya seeds, the little black ones.
Yeah, you can even do some teas and a little fasting as well.
Yeah, man. And just
That
like,
one's a little simpler, but the other one, the ozone, is basically a flush of your blood.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, the ozone, it's weird. I don't know how it actually works on. Actually, I do know how it works on mold. So the doctor was explaining that ozone therapy, it takes your blood and it pushes it through this UV light that kind of cleanses your blood, which they've known about since the 30s. But then they suppressed that information because big pharma couldn't. It was making people too healthy.
Yeah,
That's just like,
healthy people can't buy medicine.
dude, the site. Yeah, there's no subscriptions.
Yeah.
There's no reoccurring monthly billing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now it's kind of rediscovered, and they put your blood through this UV light to sanitize your blood. It goes through like this hyper oxygen chamber to just get so much more oxygen, and then shoots back into your body. And apparently that like binds to like mold spores and breaks up mold spores. And then on the other side, the bigger brother to that is called EBU therapy. So what EBU does, they put 2 IVs in your arms. So I had 2 IVs last Friday, and actually Thursday, and it pulls it out from one side. It goes through a dialysis machine, basically like a machine version of a kidney. And the filter that they use actually is so fine that it can only allow blood through. So it actually collects microplastics and collects like a lot of things. But that one's really expensive. That's like over $1,000. Just do one treatment.
Wow.
And they were saying just because the filter alone is like $300.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if there's like a cheaper version in like Medellin, Colombia, or like other places where they do stem cells outside the country, like Costa Rica, probably, maybe in Mexico. But that would be interesting
Yeah.
just to go through.
And how many sessions of
That's
ozone therapy you have to do?
yeah, that's the hard part. So, um, for ozone therapy, they were saying 5 to 10 sessions,
Okay.
and I'm like, dude, if every single session's like 500 to 800 bucks, that's like 5,000 to 8,000. I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
And then the Ebu is like
It's
over a
not, it's
grand.
also a little harder for most people
Oh, dude,
to be
yeah.
able to do it.
You kidding me? Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But the chelation therapy is about 250 per session for your heavy metals.
And
So
and that's
it's like
also blood cleansing.
yeah, it's like 5 to 10 sessions. So yeah, the chelation will bind to those heavy metals and flush it out of the body.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
And how often do they recommend doing this?
So I want to just get tested myself like every year.
Yeah.
But since I like had acute exposure, I want to do it like every 6 months,
Yeah.
and then check it that way. Because dude, like it was crazy. Like I was super healthy. I was doing like all the 10x health systems, the red lights,
Hmm. And that's it. You were doing a lot of
sleep therapy.
healthy,
Dude, yeah.
deep, healthy practice,
Mm-hmm.
and you were still not feeling well. But that's because if you weren't doing that, you would
Mm-hmm.
have been severely sick.
Yeah, yeah, it's probably true. Yeah.
Yeah, you would have gotten extremely sick, and that's what happened. Ended up happening to me.
Oh,
That I wasn't doing the ozone therapy.
yeah.
I mean, the oxygen
Uh-huh.
therapy, which you can explain a little bit of the 10x system that you're doing.
Yeah, so right here in the back in our little longevity studio, so we have red light panels, we have a grounding mat, and then a 900-liter tank that fills up with 900 liters of oxygen.
Oh, amazing.
So Gary Brecka from 10x Health, it's the same company that told Dana White, the UFC guy, that he was going to die in like 10 years and
Yeah,
5 months, like narrowed it down.
yeah.
So Gary Brecka was a life insurance researcher, basically like a biologist for life insurance, and they got so good at predicting people's death that they can predict in about like a 6 month time frame when they're gonna die.
Unbelievable.
I know, but then it was crazy because he was saying that it was like unethical because the life insurance companies would hold it back from the patients. He's like, dude, they all they had to do was just do like a few different tweaks to their diet or lifestyle, and they could live longer.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, because they're making money based on people betting on people's lives.
Wow.
It's like,
And
dude,
obviously, they're not insurance companies. Are not doctors,
no, 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 of course,
so they can withhold that information.
that's crazy, right? And so that's why Gary Brecka came out with a 10x health system after 20 years of doing it and retiring from that. Teamed up with Grant Cardone, and their headquarters is over here in Miami at Ventura. But they believe in the top three grounding, which grounding like going outside.
It's very powerful.
Yeah, it helps to remagnetize the body. A lot of people thought it was woo woo in the past,
Hmm.
but now
Very a little hippie and not really
yeah,
real, but it actually is real and it's scientifically based.
yeah, and like pseudoscience, right?
Yeah.
They were calling it. But now a lot of astronauts are using it
Yeah.
when they reacclimate back to the ozone.
Putting your feet on the ground for 15, 20 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
on the grass, on actual dirt soil. The most powerful grounding for me that I feel the effects are getting in the ocean, the
Mm.
beach. So getting in the ocean, ideally with your full body if you can, 15, 20 minutes, the negative ions, reduce inflammation. I feel a little more happier, a little more euphoric. It really does hormonally help you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're also getting morning sun for
Mm-hmm.
vitamin D, for testosterone boost, these are all healthy, natural things you can do without needing a machine or a system to ground. Yes, it's not available to everyone. That's why grounding pads are good, going
Mm.
outside in the grass, a park. But if you have access to an ocean, trying to go 2, 3 times a week, 20
Yeah.
minutes in the water, you're gonna feel a tremendous difference in your body. Can reduce pain, inflammation. I mean, it's powerful.
How long have you been grounding or like doing that
I will
practice?
say I've been naturally. I always loved the beach. So even from
Yeah.
high school, I used to skip school and go to the beach. Same, but same South Beach.
Yeah.
But I think for the last 10 years, I've been definitely grounding regularly and naturally. And now on purpose, I
Whoa.
almost do it every day. Like
Wow.
morning walks to the beach, get in the water. I also take my little pup Luna. She gets grounding as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both grounding, getting sunshine early in the morning. Very powerful for your circadian rhythm, for your
Mm.
hormones, for men, for testosterone. I don't take any TRT. I don't take
Oh
any
wow.
testosterone. So naturally, my testosterone now is very healthy because I work out well, I
Mm-hmm.
eat proper fats, I'm doing weight training, meditations, reducing stress. So managing stress is important for your testosterone, as well as also eating properly, and also limiting things like alcohol and other substances that can affect your hormones.
What are the things that affect your hormones, do you think? I mean,
And definitely, for sure, socially drinking
oh
sometimes is
yeah.
very acceptable, but too much drinking can lower your testosterone. Just one day of drinking takes about 72 hours to flush out of your system.
What? Really?
Yeah,
One day?
one day.
Dang.
So it will slow down your fat burning.
Okay.
You will activate neuroinflammation. You will activate some inflammation in your body. Ideally,
Wow.
hydrate well. Ideally, eat something. Also eat food. If I
Mm-hmm.
know some people will be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna have some drinks and not eat."
Oh
Well,
yeah.
that's actually worse on your body, right?
Mm.
So ideally, having a nice steak
Mm-hmm.
with your wine or
Oh
your
yeah.
drinks, because it will absorb a lot of that alcohol. It actually is true, and that's why sometimes people have like a burger after
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
next
The
day.
drunk food, yeah.
Yeah, and it actually does work, as long as the food's not gonna make you sick.
Yeah.
But ideally, if you can limit to drinking once a week, if you
Mm-hmm.
are drinking twice max, past that, you're really affecting your body a lot, and it's probably in recovery mode for the rest of the week. So
Wow.
as you're trying to get in fit, or trying to get in shape, or you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
feel good, you're actually slowing down the whole process, and you're just detoxifying. Don't just run into a sauna, hydrate properly. I would suggest have some coconut water after a day of drinking
Mm-hmm.
any alcohol, have some electrolytes right after, even at night. Have a little water, have a little electrolytes, go to sleep. Add some magnesium, will be really good for you to help the sleep. Then the next day, try to detox a little bit with maybe some hydrate again, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of sauna, 15 to 20 minutes could be ideal. Make sure that you're not feeling kind of lightheaded or woozy because you don't want to feel ill in the sauna. Once you do that, ideally, if you have access to a cold plunge or a cold shower, it's gonna really make you feel a lot better. So it's
Dang.
gonna eliminate the hangover effect. The
Mm-hmm.
hangover effect is basically neuroinflammation
Oh, it's
and
like brain inflammation, yeah.
brain inflammation, and you're also dehydrated.
Oh yeah.
So you're dehydrated, you have inflammation, and you feel terrible. So a lot of people will be like, "Let me take some pills, some Advil, some Tylenol, or something
Oh
like
man,
that."
it's
And
even
then all you're
worse.
doing is just masking your
Mm-hmm.
hangover. You're not curing anything. You're not really technically feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
You're just kind of putting a little band-aid on it, and maybe affecting your liver even more
Yeah,
because
it's
it's still
true.
detoxic. So I would definitely just use Epsom bath salt if you don't have a sauna, access to a sauna.
Mm-hmm.
Hot shower, cold shower would be great, and hydration. Those could be really powerful.
Then just like squeeze all that toxin out of your body
Yeah,
like a
yeah. And
ring.
then go for a nice little walk, maybe a brisk walk where you can kind of sweat a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Depending how you feel, you can do a good workout, you
Yeah,
know.
if you're being hungover, just oh yeah,
Yeah,
let's go work out.
yeah, let's go work out.
Like so for the grounding, the grounding mats, they give you 10 times more of potency than what the earth can give you.
Amazing, amazing.
So I think even Gary Brecka puts the grounding mats underneath his mattress, not the mattress, underneath the sheet.
Okay.
So then when he wakes up in the morning, when he goes to bed at night, he
So he's
grounds
pretty
both.
much grounding like all night.
Yeah, like every day he's grounding. That's
Well,
okay. Yeah, so he's grounding, but it only lasts. You can only use it for like 30 minutes max at a time.
okay. Yeah, so
So
he doesn't have it on 8 hours at night.
no, no, no.
Okay, so it's like maybe before he goes to sleep.
But there are like grounding pads that you can like put your feet on when
Yeah,
you're at the desk,
yeah.
and you can do that for like 8 hours at a time.
I have ordered those, but I honestly have never really felt
I
the
know, right?
same
Yeah.
as like if I'm actually in nature
Oh, really?
or if I'm at the ocean for
Mm.
me. And again, it's just maybe because I'm busy or I'm on the
Maybe
computer.
it's the elements too.
Maybe
You
it's
got the
also part of the elements or the
yeah,
fact that you're using it with computers
yeah,
and
yeah.
the frequencies of having blue light and all these other things. So maybe it's kind of canceling it out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to measure it. It's good
Yeah.
to try it out. It's if you don't have access to, maybe you live in a condo or maybe you live somewhere where it's like very dark or rains a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good option having having a grounding mat. Now the other thing that you have is red light therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the way that 10XL systems work with grounding, they call it oxygen, magnetism, and light. But you start with the grounding. So grounding separates your blood cells. So you're thinking about your blood, like your red blood cells, is all being clumped together like a bunch of grapes.
Yeah.
Well, oxygen binds to those red blood cells, and they're saying in the presence of oxygen, you have absence of most diseases, like 90% of diseases.
It's amazing.
And so the claims that 10x Health System, what Gary Breck is saying, is that if you can saturate your body with oxygen, you can decrease inflammation and boost immunity, which are the two things for longevity.
Mm.
So
Low inflammation and oxygenate the body.
yeah, and then and that'll boost your immune system.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, nearly every single disease is inflammatory. So like diabetes is inflammatory disease. Even having like a bigger gut is inflammatory disease.
Yeah.
Even high blood pressure and cardiac disease, it's all just basically inflammation. And the reason we get inflammation is because all the stress, all the pollutants, all the processed foods that we're having. So if we can just, do all the basics right, but then also do the grounding mat, which separates the red blood cells, and then you do oxygen next, where you actually get on a treadmill with like it looks like Top Gun, where it just like blasts 900 liters of oxygen into you in 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay.
So then you separate the red blood cells. Now you're putting all this oxygen saturating the red blood cell. And then to seal it all in, you're going in front of the red light. And so you're supposed to stand about 6 inches from the red light itself for about like 20 minutes.
Okay.
So you just do front and back. So the entire system is around like 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
So you can get in and out.
Do you feel that breath work, going into the beach, and then being in the sun can have similar effects to using the 3 devices?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know I would love for there to be a study on it, right? Of like take like 10
We
people.
might do it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Why not? Yeah.
And compare like how the levels of how much is actually reducing inflammation.
Yeah.
We gotta test that out.
I wonder how we would test the inflammation though, right?
I mean, the same thing with the grounding mat. They have devices where they show they can read it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
They
snap.
can
Okay.
they can read it. We'll find what kind of measuring devices they're using. They can kind of see the coloring of inflammation in your body.
Oh, really?
Like the colors change.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like kind of color coded.
But it's weird because like doing it, I was doing it like 4 days a week for a few weeks. And like you slowly, like the first week, you won't really feel a huge difference, I think, after the first time. But after like the first week, I felt like, whoa, just like more natural, more normal, more grounded. Because like sometimes you like feel off,
Yeah.
You just feel like, man, why am I tired or brain fog or something? This is before I knew I had mold. But
Maybe you're also combating that a lot, so it was trying to
yeah,
balance that out, right?
maybe
Like
that's true too. Yeah.
you're it's like if you're sick and then you're working out, you're like it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, yeah,
You're kind
that's
of
true.
dragging a little, it feels heavier, and then you're like, whoa, how come the workout didn't make me feel better? Well, I'm also fighting a cold, so
Yeah,
it's not fully gonna get me to feel good.
yeah.
I also think that breath work can be very powerful in getting oxygen into obviously a completely different system, but natural ways, right? For someone who doesn't have access to these devices,
Yeah.
then they can do a little breath work, like
Yeah.
breath work to oxygenate the body. The grounding outside, being in nature, being in the grass, being in the beach, being in a park, being by a tree, just even putting your hands on the tree can be very grounding. You're connecting to the earth. And then the red light therapy, that I think that can be a little bit more accessible because people can always order a small panel.
Yeah. But I think even the UV lights from the sun, I don't think red light actually induces vitamin D, which we
Okay.
know that the sun does.
Okay.
But I don't know, I could be wrong. But I do know that red light helps with collagen production, elasticity of the skin.
Well, it's very powerful.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, yeah, what is the direct comparison, right, of
Okay.
like red light and
It's interesting that we're actually gonna start researching that.
yeah, we
We're
should.
gonna do a little trial on that.
That'd be cool. That'd be nice.